Let me ask you a question. What are some of the best classic RTS games of all time? If your answers involve Total Annihilation or Supreme Commander, then I want to give you a hearty Predator handshake. Now let me ask you another question. What would happen if those two games had a baby? I introduce you to Beyond All Reason, or BAR for short. Now how did I come to discover this game years after its devs first brought it into the world? I went down a rabbit hole of wanting nostalgia to feel young again, and found every classic RTS game I enjoyed from my childrenhood when I was a children, some of which was, yes, Age of Empires and Age of Mythology, etc. Except unlike Total Annihilation or Supreme Commander, I absolutely sucked ass when I booted up the remaster of Age of Mythology and quickly uninstalled it in shame. Anyway, back on track. In my manic episode of nostalgia, I started thinking, what comes close to TA or Subcom in the modern day? I ended up on this guy Zade's channel, Kiwi, represent, as he did reviews on these classic games, some of them dating back to years ago, which made me feel really damn old. While watching his retrospective review of TA, that I'll leave in the description, there was an in-depth interview with Chris Taylor, the lead designer of the Total Annihilation dev team, and the creative director of the Supreme Commander team. In said interview, they talked about modern day RTS games and if anything came close to meeting TA or Subcom, and Chris endorsed Beyond All Reason and rooted for it, and how close it is to a spiritual successor that could become the next big success. So if someone from both dev teams could love this game so much as to buy its merch, I had to check it out for myself. I can happily tell you right here, right now, BAR is the success that I wanted and needed, and it's probably for the best that I found it so many years after its initial alpha release, so they could work out the many kinks and mechanics to kick everything off and get the game flowing. Not only has the community made dev team poured years of their life into this game, but it is completely free. You heard me right, free, and still being worked on consistently because of the early access status. This dev team made this game out of their own choice and free will, and it was made out of passion to create a game they love. No microtransaction BS, no payments required at all, and if you want to donate to the team, you can of your own action. It has been a long time since I've felt happy to be a gamer, people. And although this game is by no means perfect, balance changes happen often, the engine this game runs on is not flawless, and when I transitioned to my new computer I had to uninstall and reinstall my graphics drivers just to get it to run without crashing on launch. Oh yeah, if you didn't know yet, I've got a new computer, so I'm a very happy boy, and my content is about to look even better now, which is really amazing. But just like all good things, this game isn't perfect and you roll with the punches. When this game runs, it usually does so flawlessly, able to run on terrible and old setups, and considering this game can render thousands of units at any one time, that's pretty damn amazing. The game has a work in progress campaign, and in its placeholder is scenarios, all ranging in difficulty. This can be the starter missions that serve as basically tutorials and are very easy and forgiving. That contains first time advice on how to build your base, to then the harder missions, which somehow still haven't reached the max difficulty yet at the time of writing this. In one of them you are facing 3 AI on their hardest tune settings, all by yourself. The community actually has a thing where if you beat this scenario normal or harder, you should screenshot your victory card and post it on the Discord for bragging rights. Which I find hilarious that masochism is so well accepted in this community. The units from Total Annihilation have been ported over with legally distinct names and slightly changed looks, with the faction's core and arm being renamed to similar sounding terms, with a third faction in the works, which is another reason why this game is even better than its predecessors. The mechanics from both TA and Subcom have been merged together so you can have all your fancy key bindings, same streaming economy that has a positive yield and negative output that you can manage in a delicate balance of expanding your base and tech tree, while not doing so much so fast that you stall your economy and make your progress grind to a near halt. You also have the bird's eye view like Subcom, so you can zoom right out and see all your thousands of units fighting in battle. There's also the micro level where you can control your units like a sweaty competitive player, where you set up all your formations, move units constantly in and out of enemy unit range, to trade difficulty and win said trades. And there's so much more that as a new player I haven't even discovered yet. I've actually found myself watching competitive matches with pro players just to understand strategies more and more to improve my overall playstyle. Every match when you first start off, you will choose which faction you wish to play as, which at the current moment is Cortex or Armada. Both factions have trade-offs depending on which you prefer. Armada are more mobile and are able to use more sneaky tactics better and use less metal but more energy than Cortex. Cortex, however, focuses on brute force, using more metal but less energy than Armada, and have stronger units with tougher armor and more damage, especially their aircraft. It should come as no surprise that Cortex is my favourite. When you first start off, you'll have to weigh up things like wind strength to be able to know if, after you build your metal extractors at the start, you will be building solar panels if the wind is weak, or wind turbines if it is strong. Keep in mind that wind is not consistent and can stop at a moment's notice, unlike the sun that provides static and consistent energy and a set intake. Making this decision becomes even more difficult on a micro level because for Cortex, solar panels are cheaper than Armada, but wind turbines are more expensive than Armada, and vice versa. Are you beginning to see how this game can turn into an autism hyperfixation very quickly? Especially when it comes to min-maxing. We haven't even touched on things like if you should build bots, vehicles, or air yet. Or even naval if you actually are on a map that has an ocean on it. Which if it does, you could build tidal generators, which depending on the wave strength can give even more energy than wind turbines. Every decision in this game on a macro level, choosing which type of units you want to build, what you invest your resources into, feeds into every decision you make on a micro level. Which specific units to build, how many, where will they go on the specific map against this specific enemy. And although after playing a game for hundreds of hours it can be repetitive, you won't really get bored in this game because literally every single match is different because your opponent will do something different every time, which means you have to react in a different way every time. I feel like I've barely touched the surface in this game and it just keeps dragging me in deeper for even more fun times. With your unit tech trees, there are different tech tree units, those being T1, T2 and T3. T1 are the fodder, cheap and small units that you can use to overwhelm your enemies. T2 is the jump up, where things start to get expensive, more specialised units that are bigger and do more damage. Then for the big boys at T3, these are the experimental units. From big units that shoot out hundreds of missiles, to titans that dominate and destroy your opponents with overwhelming force. Needless to say, these units cost a small fortune to make and take a long time to build, which is where I get to the gotcha moment where there was actually a hidden third part of the bar economy. Build power can essentially be described as how fast can something be made. Every constructor has a different build power depending on their tech level and class of unit. The commander has the highest possible build power at 300, while something like a T1 aircraft only has a pathetic 65, the lowest possible, but the difference is you can build a lot of constructors. The more build power you have, the faster you build units, buildings, everything you could ever need. However, the higher build power you have, the more energy and metal you will be using per second to build things. The streaming economy might not be what you are used to. Rather than handing over whatever supplies are needed as soon as you start building something, you will instead be handing over a specific amount of supplies to build it per second, until the total required amount is achieved and then whatever you are building becomes finished. This is where improving and building out your economy is the very lifeblood of your base and determines whether you win or lose because of better management. I honestly feel like I could talk about this game all damn day, but I won't keep you for any longer and I hope you're convinced. Go out and play this game, it's completely free and constantly being worked on. The only thing you have to lose is time, which on an individual level of how much we have left is very slowly decreasing every second of every day. Thank you for spending that time with me, and hopefully with the best modern day RTS game. Alright, bye.